everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today we have a very interesting video and I cannot wait to tell you what it is. So for this week's video, we're going to be reading the oldest and the newest books on my TBR. So I have my bookshelf up on Goodreads. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I'm going to screen record this so that I can insert the footage. So the book that's the newest on my TBR shelf is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabriella Zevin. This is a library book, so that is why it's recently been added. And then the oldest book I have is Caraval. You'll be able to see that when I insert. But I do not have a few of these books with me. They're in the UK at my partner's house. But the book that I do have with me from this list is Cinder. So the rest of them up there are all not with me. And then we have Cinder here. Oh, Cinder is by Marissa Meyer. But we'll be reading these two books this week. I'm very excited. I don't know whether I should start with the oldest or the newest. I kind of feel like the newest because it is a library book, so I can return it. But it's quite thick. So I'm very excited to get these off my TBR, especially this one. It's been sitting there for ages and I just keep looking at it and I really want to read it. However, I've never had a video to put it in. I will let you know what I start with, but I'm very excited to just change the pace from thrillers back to my normal reading stuff. Without that being said, let's jump into the video. Good morning, friends. I am here to give you a bit of an update. So I didn't film any B-roll while reading the first bit of this book because I was planning to, and the first 100 pages I was so excited. I was actually just flying through it, but I've read like little bits and pieces over the last 3 days, and it's taken me 3 days to read 200 pages. And you know what I'm like, surely, if you watch my channel, when a book has so many words to describe one thing, I kind of start losing interest and I start skimming. A lot of the subtext is just, it's too much. I know this is a very controversial book because a lot of people either really love it or really hate it. I'm somewhere in the middle. Some parts of the story are so interesting and really heartfelt, and they deal with a lot of trauma and past traumas and a lot of behaviors they just carried with them to adulthood. It's relatable in a sense, but at the same time, there's just so much writing. It sounds stupid because it's a book, but like one chapter was 20 pages. No one in their right mind should write a chapter of 20 pages. It can easily be broken up into 2 separate chapters. There was one part as well where one of our main female characters decides to leave Boston and she's going to LA, and she's just broken up with her boyfriend. I'm trying to find the page now. It was recent. So she's just broken up with her boyfriend, right? This is on page 154, and obviously he doesn't really want to let her go, but they have a slightly abusive relationship. This entire page is dedicated to him trying to deter her. So it's like, I don't want to read all of it, but it just says he expresses his concerns through a series of histrionic rhetorical questions concerning LA. Did you know about the earthquakes, the fires, the floods, the droughts, the smog, the homeless, the coyotes, the general sense of looming apocalypse? Did you know that drugstores closed at 10? Would she happen to have needed a cough syrup or batteries or legal pads after 10? Did she know there weren't all-night diners or bodegas or takeout? What would she eat? Where would she get decent bagels or pizza? Did she know that the only thing people in LA ate were avocados and sprouts? Was she ready to be into juicing? Was she aware that the tap water caused cancer? And it just goes on like on a whole page, and I'm like, that could have been summarized, but it's just a little bit too much, and I'm not fully enjoying it anymore. It's more of a chore. There are, like I said, some wholesome bits in it, but generally as a whole it's tedious. I like the video game elements, but there's references to things that honestly I don't care about, like building engines and stuff like that. And people who had recommended this book, like Rachel Catherine, she said that you didn't need to know much about video games in order to read the book, but I know a little bit or enough about video games where like my partner plays them all the time. I know a little bit, but still I just feel like it's irrelevant in the story and it didn't need need to be so long-winded. But the story kind of follows two characters that met in a hospital when they were really young. Main female character, Sadie, her sister was in hospital because she had cancer, so she was like doing checkups, and Sadie was kind of pushed to the side because, you know, her sister was ill. And Sam had been in a car accident and had multiple surgeries on his foot. So one day in the games room they meet and they just like strike up a friendship, and it goes on for a couple of years, I think, and then they have a falling out. And then years later, when he's at Harvard and she's at MIT, they cross paths at a train station, and together they decide to start their own gaming company and build games. That all sounds very interesting, but it's long, and there's just so many words to describe simple things, and I think that's very unnecessary. The writing didn't need to be embellished that much because the story itself, it has substance, and without the fluff, I think it would be so much better. So the lighting's a bit bad because I turned one of my lights off because my eyes are hurting. I've been sitting here for a while doing some other stuff. I almost forgot. I just had a snack, so sorry. It is now like 2:30 in the afternoon, and I finished this at about 10 o'clock this morning. So I've already told you what it's about. I'm not going to bang on about it again because that was the premise of the book. Anything else I add now would just be spoilers. I didn't like it that much. There were actual chapters where I completely skipped. Like I read a little bit on its relevance and then just went on to the next chapter. It was, I don't know how to describe it, but I read some reviews that said it was a little bit too pretentious and it tried a little bit too hard to be relevant. But I don't feel that completely. I just feel like there was just too much description, too much things that didn't need to be in there to apply to the story. So I gave this a 3-star. It was tedious. I was rolling my eyes. I was trying to skim. I just wanted to finish it. It felt like it was the longest book I ever read. It just went on and on and on and on and just wouldn't finish. That's all I'm going to say about it. I didn't love it. I agree with my friend. Well, she's not my friend. I just know her from YouTube. Ali, I agree with you. I should have DNF'd this. It was not the best book I ever read. If you like video games, if you love very descriptive stories, if you like long-winded stories, you will love this. But that's not me. I don't have the time for it. I just get super bored. So that is done. At least we can take it back to the library. But next we're going to read Cinder. I am so excited. Like I said, I did buy the sequel. I just kind of flipped through it and I really like the font. So I think I'm really going to like this. It is a Cinderella retelling or reimagining even. And then we have a cyborg who falls in love with a prince and needs to fight a evil queen. That is straight up my alley. I am literally a Disney adult and I eat this kind of thing up. So I'm very excited. Too bad it is YA. Regardless, I will let you guys know what I think when I start this. Hi friends! So, we got started on Cinder by Marissa Meyer and it's part of the Lunar Chronicles. I really like it. I only started reading it yesterday and I flew through. I'm on page 180 or 181 actually, chapter 20. I'm really liking it. This is like my perfect type of book. I just wish it wasn't so YA. It's the only downfall, but I'm absolutely eating the story up. Like I said, it is kind of a Cinderella reimagining in a dystopian world. We have our main female character, Cinder, and she is a cyborg. She was actually adopted. Her father adopted, well, her adoptive father adopted her. Stepmother absolutely hates her, thinks she's like a abomination and doesn't want anything to do with her. So Cinder is a mechanic and she works in like the town square. She earns the money and her mom, her sister and her two stepsisters, or her stepmom and her stepsisters just stay home all day, get dresses made, chill, have all these things, and she's just meant to work all the time. She's also one of the best mechanics in the area. They live in New Beijing. The world has completely changed. There's people on the moon and they're like kind of a different species and they don't like each other. It's very, very interesting and I'm so intrigued. I was confused about the difference between it because they have like androids as well. So I was confused about what the difference between a cyborg was and a like android robot. So my partner explained to me that a robot is obviously a fully machine and a cyborg is basically a hybrid between human and machine. So Cinder has a hand that is mechanical and then also a foot. Her stepmother is such a bitch. She won't even like get her a new foot. So her one foot was so much smaller than the other one. She meets the prince, who's Prince Kai. This book was released in 2015, so she didn't steal the name Kai. And they getting on like a house of fire. She doesn't want to tell him that she's a cyborg because cyborgs are kind of frowned upon, and because there's an outbreak of the plague at the moment, they're taking cyborgs as test subjects so they can administer the plague to them and, I don't know, make an antidote or something like that, or they test the antidotes on them, and a lot of cyborgs are just dying. So that's kind of where I am now. Things are really starting to happen. The writing is so easy. There's some words that I don't really understand, that's a little bit technical, or like Asian derived words where I don't understand, but I just skim past them. I can understand the gist of it. But yeah, I'm really loving it. I'm hoping I can finish it today. I do have quite a bit to do. I've spent the entire morning just editing, but I think I'm going to take a break now and watch a little bit of YouTube and then read for half an hour before I go for my run this evening. I'm absolutely loving this. I can't believe I waited so long to read it. I have the second book in the series, so I'm very excited for that too. They are all connected. I didn't think so. I thought they were different fairy tales, but it kind of is. I'm so happy that I love it. It's been sitting on my shelf for over a year now. I'm gonna get reading and I will let you guys know when I finish this book. Hello everyone. We have some news. I finished it. I actually only finished it this morning. I know I said I'd finish it yesterday, but I only finished it this morning because I don't know. I was reading very slow and yesterday I was so tired for some reason, but I finished it. I really liked it. I'm going to give this a 4-star. The cliffhanger it left off on makes me just want to pick up the second book. I just want to know what happens. It was exciting. It was endearing. It was everything I like in a book. I love dystopian / sci-fi stories. This was so good and I would 100% recommend you read it. I kind of told you what it was about, her being a cyborg, her being a prince, and there so many secrets were revealed and the adventures she went on, the mistakes she made and how her character developed was amazing. So I would really recommend, especially if you are a bit of a Disney adult. It doesn't retell the story exactly, obviously. It is just a reimagining. If it was in a time like this, honestly, I could 100% recommend. I can't believe it took me so long to pick this up and I'm so happy I did. 4 stars, like I said. I did enjoy my time reading it. It went really fast. I did it in like 2.5 days, which is pretty good for me, and it kept my interest all the way through. I loved the font. I loved her writing style. Some, like I said, like Asian references I didn't really understand, but other than that, it was a great book. I'm surprised that it was YA because some of the bits, I guess if it was adult, it could have been a little bit more of like a romance. Really loved it. Thank you so much to Rachel Catherine for recommending this. I think she rated it a 3.75, but for me, definitely a 4. So just to recap, we also did read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I did like it enough. I just thought it was overwritten and there were way too many irrelevant chapters. It was just way too wordy for my taste, but I did give it a 3-star. I could still recommend it, like I said, if you like more descriptive books with more imagery, but I just wanted to know the story. I loved where the story was going, and then she'd just throw in some chapters. It felt like filler chapters just to make it a bit longer, but if this book was probably maybe 100 pages shorter, I would have given it a 4, even a 5-star, because the first 100 pages were really, really good and I loved it, and then it just all went downhill. So I'm really, really happy to get these off my TBR. This is late for the library, 2 days only, so that's not too bad. So I'm going to return this tonight, but I'm so happy that we finished this and it's off our TBR. I feel really bad that I didn't read it sooner. I do have the sequel, so hopefully I should do that in an upcoming video. But with that being said, thank you so much for joining. Please remember to like and subscribe and leave me a comment if you've read any of these books. Please, if you read Tomorrow ×3, let me know what you thought, because honestly, I know I'm in the minority of not liking it, and there's a lot of people who absolutely loved it, but it wasn't for me. It was just too long-winded. But let me know what you thought. And also, have you heard of the Lunar Chronicles? I just saw them come out with the books in South Africa. I never saw it before. I got this in the UK, but then when I saw the second book, I just picked it up. So yeah, that's everything I have to say. See you all next week. Bye guys.